All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Monday, September 18th. We got an 11-game MLB slate to jump into in today's video. Like we always do, we're going to go through each and every game. I'm going to give you my lean or leans on the games, but as always, my final plays. So if you do want to fade what I'm actually rolling with tonight, my final plays, those will be in the pinned comment. We're coming off a 2-1 night, and the team that I would least suspect would kill the chance for a sweep was the Braves, and they were the ones that did it. We have a 2-1 night. We had to sweat out the Rays and the Orioles over. The Twins and White Sox, that was an easy under. And the Braves, the best team in baseball. Yes, they're on a slide, but they're the ones that prevent the 3-0 sweep. I'm not going to complain about a 2-1 night, but come on, Braves. Guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button as well. We are approaching 30,000 subscribers, which is absolutely crazy. Thank you all for your support. And speaking of support, if you do want to go even further, make sure to check out OddsJam, guys. It's a tool that has a plethora of tools. So a platform that has plethora of tools that helps people like you and me beat the sportsbooks. You can use the link in the pinned comment. You'll get 7 days absolutely free. And if you choose to go with a paid subscription moving forward, you can use code GUYBOSTON to save 25% off your first month. And we can actually just jump in here. This is the sportsbook screen. I use this all the time for literally any play that's on the market. You can look at what damn near every single sportsbook is offering in terms of odds. So you can compare the average odds to the best odds and the odds that you're getting, right? They also have a positive EV tool like this one. Robbie Grossman, plus 630 on FanDuel, did a home run. Average odds are plus 450. So you can really see the big time plus EV there. If you don't know what plus EV is, just go ahead and do a YouTube search for that. It's essentially getting the best price for any play that you want. Why would you buy a car for 12 grand if you go walk down the street and buy a car for 8 grand? That's what I always kind of compare it to. Mitch Garver, right, over 0.5 home runs, 350 over on FanDuel, average odds 295. You could see 295 on Caesars, 295 on DraftKings, that type of thing. They also have a daily fantasy pick'em optimizer here too for a prize picks, underdog, parlay play, all those sites. If you do want your best chance of winning on those sites, go check this out as well. I love this tool. But yeah, guys, go check out OddsJam. Highly encourage you guys to do so. I use the tool every single day, so you guys know it's not a BS sort of ad reader promo, right? Like, I'm just telling you one of the tools that I use to at least attempt to be a profitable sports bettor. That link is in the pinned comment. Again, if you do sign up for a subscription, use that code GUYBOSTON. Now let's jump into game number 1. I like the spot here for Cleveland as they take on the Royals. On the mound for the Royals is Brady Singer. We'll talk about his ERA in a second, but I do want to give credit where it's due. The Royals have won 4 of their last 5. They took 2 of 3 against the White Sox, and then they surprisingly took 2 of 3 against Houston. But yesterday they looked like the Royals again. They lost 7-1 there. And Cleveland coming off of sweeping Texas, so they're playing decent baseball. None of those games, I guess game 2 you could say was close, but games 1 and 3 weren't even close. They dominated there. But back to Brady Singer here. I am absolutely fading him today. In his last 3 starts here, he's got a 10.05 ERA and a 2.16 whip. He's going up against Cal Quantrill, who I don't totally love, but over his last 3, he's been really good. 1.5 ERA with a 1 flat whip. And over their last 5 games for Cleveland's offense, batting .325 for an average against righties with a .416 on base percentage. So I have a feeling they're going to get to Brady Singer today, just like they did back in early June. 5 innings pitched, 13 hits allowed, 6 earned runs, and no home runs. But I'm saying no home runs as a good thing. Like, that was 6 earned runs without any deep balls. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. They were batting him all over the ballpark. So give me the Cleveland Guardians here on the money line. In terms of what we're looking at for a total, it's sitting at 9 right now. Cleveland's offense has been hot. I'm going to lean towards the over because, maybe Kansas City can pull out a couple runs, and if Cleveland can put up, a floor of 5 or so, we're talking about a chance for the over. But if anything's going to make it into the final plays, it's going to be Cleveland on the money line in this one. All right, Miami taking on the Mets here. Mets coming off a series in which they lose 2 of 3 to Cincinnati. They did win yesterday's game. Miami coming off of a sweep, and we already talked about it. The Braves on a little bit of a slide. Miami goes out there and sweeps them. Edward Cabrera on the mound for Miami. He's been meh, but he's going up against Jose Budo, who's been decent, but I really don't trust him altogether. I think that I'm going to look at Miami in this spot just because they are playing so well here. And I have some weird thing. I'm just not trusting the Mets lately in the last few weeks here. I don't really believe in them all that much. And Miami, how can you not believe in them after beating the Braves? Now, could they have a come down spot? Yes, that's probably the reason why this, if this were to not make it into the final plays, it's probably because I'm thinking, okay, this could be a letdown spot. Like, they must be riding high after beating the Braves 3 straight games, right? Like, this is a perfect sort of surprise trap game game. But I do still think minus 152 right now over on FanDuel for Miami is fair odds. They're batting really, really well in their last 5 games here. They're batting 307 against righties, averaging a 1.6 home run rate with a 384 on base percentage. You really can't look at that and say, oh, well, that's terrible, right? No, that is good. The bullpen's looking okay. 3.67 ERA with a 1.25 whip, and then you're looking at the bullpen here, the available bullpen for the Mets, not all that great. 5.87 ERA with a 1.46 ERA. So everything points to Miami, which makes me scared of it just a little bit, but nonetheless, that is going to be our lean. In terms of the total, 8.5, this Mets offense put up 8 runs yesterday, but prior to that, 2 and 3 against Cincinnati. The Miami, they were scoring a bunch of runs, 9, 11, 16. Like, again, everything points to a potential regression spot here, but I'm still going to lean towards the over. Maybe they have one more good game in them, in both the money line and the over cash kind of on their backs. Cincinnati hosting Minnesota here. Minnesota trotting out Joe Ryan. He's got a 2.6 ERA over his last 5 games here. I will say a little bit better in his last 3. In terms of Cincinnati pitching, TBD. We don't even know who's starting for them yet today. So I do like the Twins in terms of this spot. I think they're the better team. They just took 3 of 4 against the White Sox. They've won 6 of their last 4 here. In Cincinnati, yes, they did take 2 of 3 against the Mets, but I just got to finish saying I don't really trust the Mets, and they lost yesterday. And we don't know who's pitching for them now. I don't think it's going to be Andrew Abbott, who's the only pitcher that I would say really trust on that team, right? To some degree. And he pitched 2 games ago, so I don't think it's going to be him. So we're going to go ahead and take a peek at the Minnesota Twins here. Minus 145 over on Caesar seems like it's some good value. And then in terms of the total, 9.5 seems a little bit too high for me. This Twins team has been cashing, fair amount of unders when they've played bad teams like this, even when they play good teams. Now, the White Sox, I kind of want to throw that series out because they scored 10 runs in 2 games there, but prior to that, playing Tampa Bay and even playing the Mets, they were hitting the under to this line. So give me the under in this game as well. Definitely like the Minnesota Twins money line better than I do the under, though. All right, guys, before we continue on with the slate, let me give a shout out to the Fade Me brand. I'm rocking the Fade Me Dodge tee today. If you do want to support us, support what we're doing here, make sure to pick up some Fade Me merch. Really good quality. Shout out to Ralph, left a comment on yesterday's video saying he picked up a shirt, got it, and was pretty much blown away by the quality. So shout out to you, Ralph. But yeah, we have tons of stuff. Whether you're still hanging on to summer, we have those button-ups that you just saw. We have a bunch of hoodies and a bunch of t-shirts on the site as well. I love these. These are like perfect day drinking, fun sort of button-up shirts. But yeah, if you're ready for the fall football ready, go ahead and pick up one of the new hoodies that we dropped. Guys, you can use code FADE and get 10% off at checkout. So make sure to go check out Fade Me, a great way to support it. I'm telling you, nothing makes me more excited than when I see an order come across my phone. We could have 1 million views on a video, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I see one shirt order come through, right? I'm like, let's go. Someone is joining the movement here. Someone's joining the Fade Squad. But go ahead and pick up a Fade Me shirt today, guys. That link will be in the pinned comment. Again, you can use code FADE, F-A-D-E. I had to make it simple for my dumb brain. You can get 10% off with that code. Go check it out, guys. Link in the pinned comment. Support what we're doing here. Help us grow. All right, Nationals taking on the White Sox, and I can't lie to you guys, I don't like to do that. I'm not very excited for this series. I think I look at the White Sox in this spot. Mike Clevenger has been pitching well over his last 2 games, whereas you have Joe Nadon on the mound for Washington. He's been a little rocky over his last 3, so literally, that's probably the only reason. It comes down to pitching. I don't trust either one of these offenses. In fact, neither one of them looking really great against righties over their last 10 or 5, both 220 or less in terms of average. So what I could see being a final play here would be the under. But again, guys, this is such a sloppy spot that like they could accidentally stumble into like a 6-5 game just because the defenses aren't that great. Errors like blah blah blah. Sloppy games just because they're bad offenses don't always result in unders. That would make sports betting very easy, right? So I do think that we don't have the best pitchers on the mound. The offenses stink. Those may be countered. I don't even know. We're gonna look at the under in this one. That could be the only thing that really I roll with for a final play, but I doubt it does. I don't love this spot whatsoever, and I'm just being honest with you guys. All right, Atlanta taking on the Phillies here. I think this is going to be a good series. We did see last time they played, Atlanta kind of run this one. They won 3 of the 4. Today, Zach Wheeler is on the mound. He got kind of shelled last time out, and I'm a big Zach Wheeler guy. I always say he's one of the more underrated guys in the league. But he pitched 5 innings, 7 hits, 6 earned runs with 3 home runs let up in his last start, and it was against Atlanta. But Kyle Wright on the mound for Atlanta. He got kind of shelled too. 6 hits, 6 earned runs, no home runs, but obviously got got batted around there in his last game against them. I think I'm going to look at the over in this spot. Right now, you can get 9 on FanDuel for some juiced odds, -122. So if you like 9.5, you can get it for even on FanDuel, but I think I might like the push potential at 9. And in terms of a money line, I hate betting against Zach Wheeler. I do, but I can't imagine Atlanta loses another one in a row. But like, rewind the tape. I said that 2 times in the Miami series, and this is what happened. That sound drop. Like, I got that to the face. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, they lose game 1, they won't lose game 2. Lose game 2, oh, they won't lose game 3. Lose game 3, now I'm saying they're going to win game 1 of this series. I could be the dummy in the room here, so feel free to fade me on this one. But I like Atlanta on the money line, -116. I don't care who they're playing. There is something and a little bit of credence to be said that you're taking the best team in the league. At -116, how many opportunities are you going to get to do that, right? As close to even odds as you're going to get for this team, I'm going to roll with it. And like I said, I like the over as well. I think we'll pay the extra juice on FanDuel. Keep an eye on the pinned comment to see what we end up getting it at. You know, we'll use the odds jam screen and get the best line and best odds possible. Shout out to odds jam for this one. But I like the over 9 as well. I don't hate 9.5, but obviously I think, you know, a 5-4 type game totally should be easy for these offenses. And that's some good push potential there. It gives a little safety net. Next up, we got St. Louis taking on Milwaukee here. I do think that Milwaukee is the clear-cut better team. They have Freddie Peralta on the mound today, going up against Adam Wainwright, who obviously has been struggling. Wainwright in his last 3 starts here. Nothing really to brag about. 4.86 ERA, 1.92 WHIP. The only thing he could brag about is that that's about I can't even believe I'm saying this, half of his season ERA. His season ERA is 7.95, so maybe he does feel pretty good going into this one. But no, nonetheless, guys, I like the Brewers in this spot. -170 on Caesars. Pretty big discrepancy from other sportsbooks as they sit right around -186 and whatnot. So yeah, -190 on BetMGM, -185 on DraftKings, -186 on Caesars. If we could still get -170 on FanDuel, if we can still get -170 on Caesars, I do think there's value there. I think they're the clear-cut better team, but that still is a lot of juice to be paying. Total sitting at 9 runs. I don't think St. Louis is going to bring the offense in their last few games here, barring a couple outliers. They're scoring, you know, 1 run, sometimes 2 runs. They've had, I think, 3 one-run games in, and by 1 run, I mean 1 run scored for them in their last 10, which is not all that great. So it speaks to that offense. I'll take the under 9, but I'd be surprised if that makes it into the final plays, because this Brewers team obviously has been putting up a decent amount of runs. Not yesterday. I think they only scored 1 or 2 runs yesterday in their loss, but, you know, they scored 9, 5, and I think 5 the 3 games prior to. All right, Texas taking on Boston. Boston has lost so many games in a row. I've lost count. As a Red Sox fan, very, very tough to watch. Texas gets swept by Cleveland, and I'll say it right now, the Texas Rangers should win this game. They're heavily favored, -160, but I think it has a chance to be a final play, and I will put even more pressure on them because I know each and every one of those guys in the locker room, including the coach, the GM, the owner, they all watch my videos. This is a potential, I'm not saying it's cemented, but a potential ban situation for Texas. If we bet them and they do not win, they might fall right into the Seattle bucket. I think Seattle, unless I'm missing someone, guys, Seattle's the only team that I'm like, nope, you're done. You're banned for the season. I'd hate for Texas to be that because I think Texas has ridden high at times during the season. And then they were kind of like underdogs and we were still making money, plus money and whatnot. And now they're on a bad streak. They lost 3 in a row to Cleveland, but let's hope that was a bad series instead of a start to something even worse. So I'm rolling with Texas in this one. I also like the over in this spot. I think a lot of runs could be scored. Jordan Montgomery on the mound for Texas. He looked pretty bad up until his last start against Toronto, 7 innings pitch shutout, but that's like an outlier looking at his last 5 games. Going up against Cutter Crawford, who same sort of thing. He had a really good start, not a really good one, but pitched well against the Yankees. 7 strikeouts, 1 earned run over 5 innings. But prior to that was not pitching well. So I think that this one's going to be a shootout, and I'm trusting that Texas offense over this Red Sox offense right now. Red Sox, like, you get to the 6th inning, and they're like, yeah, I don't really care. It's almost like when Brooks Koepka said golf should be 12 holes because he gets bored. It's like the Red Sox play 6 innings. They're like, can we go back to Little League? Because that's the amount of innings I want to play. But yeah, give me Texas. Potential ban situation. And if you are, if you're part of this Fade Squad, which go ahead and comment 14 if you're watching right now. If you are part of the Fade Squad, if you're an OG, you're not a guppy, and you want to show your support, you go ahead and comment 14. But I do think that, this is a chance. You could ride with Texas, and if they lose, we all got to ban them together because they've been bad. But yeah, guys, go ahead, comment 14, and keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if we make this a final play. I feel like I've talked about it too much to avoid it because it is a ban spot for them if they do lose, potentially. But let's go ahead and move on. Rambled and ranted on that game for sure. All right, Houston taking on Baltimore. Baltimore kind of righted the ship here. The last two games against Tampa Bay, they win 8-0, and they win 5-4. We obviously cashed the over 8.5 yesterday in that game. Houston losing 2 of 3 against Kansas City. I wanted to figure out a way that I could rationalize Baltimore plus 135 over on Caesars on the money line. I did. I can't do it. I got to go with the home Houston team here with Verlander on the mound going up against John Means. What a pitching discrepancy. And just in terms of, the consistency here, like I do think that Baltimore, as much as Houston struggled, I feel like that was kind of they struggled 2 series in a row, but Baltimore just did not look good to start that series against Tampa Bay and to close out the series against St. Louis. So both these teams, if you're talking consistency, like they both struggle in that department, right? So I'm going to take the team that is the better pitcher and is the home team today. It was a tough one because I wanted to get myself to Baltimore because plus 135 for a team as good as Baltimore seems like some serious value. So even if you're on that, I don't mean to talk you off of it because minus 148, it's a lot of juice to be paying for Houston, but I just couldn't get myself there. I had to trust Verlander and Houston, who I believe is going to kind of bounce back a little bit more than Baltimore was after a couple bad series in a row for both teams. Oh, and I still like the over, I guess, in that game as well, just like we did yesterday, or for the Tampa Bay game yesterday for Baltimore. All right, here we go. We got San Diego taking on Colorado here. We do have lines. The graphics not updated. We screenshotted that earlier, but San Diego minus 260. Total sitting at 8 runs here. I don't know what I like in this game. We don't have a starter for Colorado. Michael Wacha's pitching for San Diego. In terms of what these teams have done against one another lately, back in August, San Diego won both games by a wide margin. They played in June as well, and San Diego won this. They've won 6 of the last 10 games, and obviously the better team, and they're covering run lines left and right against this team. So I guess I lean towards San Diego on the run line. I don't love the minus 111. I wish that was plus money, but nonetheless, that's the way we're going to be leaning. And then in terms of a total 8 runs, I guess I'll go lean towards the over, but I've frowned like 3 times covering this game, right? Don't really love the matchup. All right, Oakland taking on the aforementioned banned Seattle Mariners here. Oakland, like we just said, had a good series, right? Had a good series against Houston, but then they kind of got carried away and got swept by San Diego. So that's sort of like, oh, they're riding high. That's got to be gone. But Seattle got swept by the Dodgers. So both these teams coming off of that spot. I think that there's just runs left in the tank for both teams. And again, that's the loophole to me betting Seattle now, betting overs in their game, because this is obviously a Seattle spot, but they're banned. I can't do it, right? I'm that analytical and that dedicated as a sports bettor that if you're banned, you're banned, for whatever reason. I could like the way I don't like your jerseys that night, you're banned. But yeah, give me the over. Luckily, it's at 7.5, pretty low here in terms of the weather. I was thinking that could be the case, but it looks like it's supposed to be clear and partly cloudy heading into the evening. So give me the over in this spot. JP Sears pitching for Oakland. I don't think that well, actually, he's actually been pitching well. I can admit that, and he's pitched well against Seattle this year. So I do think that he could go out there and shove, but I don't trust him altogether. Brian Wu going on the mound for Seattle. I think that he can obviously get batted around too. He's had a couple good starts, but nonetheless, I do think this is an over spot. But I guess if we have to lean one way, and I don't know if I have the cojones to put this in the final play, but let's lean Oakland on the money line for plus 150 over in DraftKings. I don't know if we can actually get ourselves to do it, but the over definitely has a better chance of being a final play. And last but not least, the Dodgers taking on the Tigers here. Eduardo Rodriguez going for Detroit, and the Dodgers pitching Lance Lynn. The total sitting at 8.5, and I think I'm going to lean towards the under. I'm going to trust Lance Lynn to sort of right the ship. He pitched okay against San Diego last time out, but if you forget, he had a couple bad starts in a row, but it was against the Braves, who I'm willing to throw that away, and then it was against Milwaukee when they started, Miami. Obviously when they started playing well, then they kind of went back down, but now they're at the top of the roller coaster again. But nonetheless, give me Lance Lynn and Eduardo Rodriguez to go out there and kind of do what they should do. Under 8.5 seems like it might be crazy to take with the Dodgers because they do seem to hit that line plenty, but they haven't hit it in 3 of their last 4. That said, they've hit it in 7 of their last 10. But what have you done for me lately? They have not. But that's because Seattle barely scored any runs in that series, right? So I'll take the under in this one. And then in terms of a money line, I want to look at the Dodgers, but it's a lot of price to be paying, so I'll lean towards them. But minus 180 could definitely keep me off of this. And guys, that is all we have for you guys in today's video. If you did like it, like the video, and if you want to hit that subscribe button, help us get to 30,000, go right ahead. I think like 65% of people that watch the videos are not subscribed, which is like, that's crazy to me. 65. I'm not saying that's crazy that we have people that watch that aren't subscribed, but that percentage is absolutely crazy. But nonetheless, guys, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We'll catch you guys in the next video. All right, peace out.